Welcome back. Dr. Ahmed, the question about until the governor of Zamfara is an Igbo man and the governor of Rivers State is a Hausa man, we're still playing around.
That's where we started from, actually. The councillor in Owerri was a Hausa man, and he won an election twice. They never saw him as a Hausa man. They trusted him, he trusted them. He saw Owerri as home, and everything worked very well. Growing up, the first, then we used to, you call him Baba Elena, who was an Igbo man. That was the first time I had a human being called Ogali, because he had a daughter that was called Ogali. He used to live in Ilorin. And of course, I did not see any difference between myself and his children. We grew up together. This was where we started from. We went to basically the same school and were brought up the same way. They went to their churches on Sunday. We went to the mosque on Friday. It did not separate us. We enjoyed the same benefits. You know, this was where we started from until the issue of agitation for, breaking up. That's what I call it, started. It was 3. Then some people felt, no, it was not representative enough. We're not part of these people that you have grouped us with. We're different from them. We do not speak the same language that they speak. So there is a Midwestern. There was the Western region, and then a Midwestern region came. And then the problem actually was institutionalized, and it has not stopped since then. That's number 1. Number 2, you see, we have to engineer a national consensus, because right now we're just, talking at variance. We do not have a shared vision of where we want Nigeria to be, what kind of Nigeria we want. That's why certain elements think the best thing for Nigeria is to disintegrate, so that the Igbo man will retire to his cocoon, and I will go back to my village. And who will lose ultimately? You and I, and the country Nigeria. We're not going to benefit anything from it. And truly, I believe there is no region in this country that wants out of Nigeria. What they want is to be treated decently as human beings, to have rights, to be able to, actualize their aspiration. For anybody from any part of this country to become governor, to become a president, to become Senate president, and so on and so forth. This is what Nigerians want. Okay. And I trust the Igbo man. Of course, the Igbo man, we must give them an award in this country, because they're everywhere. There's no part of Nigeria you go and there is no Igbo man. And they have blended so well. If you go to Adamawa and you meet Igbo man speaking full day, you will not believe. I'm not aware of any other group that are so much blended. So these are not the kind of people. And they are smart people. They are investors. They are very, very enterprising. I am sure they do not want to lose their investments. Yes. No. Okay. They only want to be treated fairly.
Okay. Chief, this question of breaking Nigeria up into little states, do you not think it is also breaking up the people, that it is not doing us as much good as people who are the minds behind it? It's not doing us as much good as they are hoping. It's breaking us up even further.
Alero, any thought that is not rooted in scientific principles will not stand the test of time. Science is not only when you get into the lab, you mix oxygen with hydrogen to produce water at a certain temperature. That's not the science. There's social science. And most of the problem we have today are within the square of social science, psychology, sociology, economics, and political science. Then you can now bring law to galvanize them and give them some kind of force. When you go into vociferous division of country, you also divide the human beings and their allegiances. So Nigeria becomes further and further, and the people become more loyal to their unit, to their small groups, and the loser will be Nigeria. There's a scientific principle in psychology that says that the whole is W-H-O-L-E, the totality. The whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. If you bring an orange and tear it into 14 pieces, it can no longer form one orange if you put them together, because some water has dropped from that orange. If you bring bread and slice it, it's no longer the same one loaf, because some debris will be found when you're even picking them. I don't know whether I get it. Yeah. So when you divide this country and further divide and further divide, the state creation was done to achieve unity, but that is on the surface. But we know that it was to excise a certain part of the oil-producing states from the former eastern region and all that. That was political expediency that was not informed by any scientific thinking. So when you think of dividing Nigeria and dividing Nigeria, you are doing more harm to this country. This country, truly speaking, like my brother Ahmad has said here, nobody wants to go anywhere. We have become so, the salt can no longer jump out from the soup because it has blended and lost its physical identity into the pot of soup. But it maintains the taste. I don't know whether I get the point. The Igbo man has married Hausa, Hausa man has married Igbo, Yoruba man has married Igbo, Igbo has married Yoruba. At that level, things have mixed up and messed up, if you want to use that word. How are you going to excise that I'm no longer being the uncle to my sister who is married to Jide, or my uncle who married to some person from Madugri, and there are instances everywhere. And there's no law that debar people from getting so socially involved. And because of that, it is not possible. It is only within the figment of the wishful thinking of some people who don't even understand the social dynamics of this country. So what I'm saying is that rather than a simplistic look at restructuring, we should first of all get the structure. I beg to disagree with my colleague on the other side that said that mental restructuring should be the first. No. There is never a time you will get mental restructuring first. Mental attitude is as a result of something. I cannot have an attitude against or towards Alero if I don't see Alero.
Exactly. The question I asked you a question about vision. What is the Nigerian vision? Is there a vision that we're looking at?
That's what I'm coming to now. You know, the way I operate, I don't go too much mechanical. I want people to follow in the argument. Okay. If Alero comes out, if Alero comes out with white garment in the morning, and I see her, it enkindles and rekindles my attitude to people who wear white. You understand what I mean?
You mean people like me?
Okay. With people like you, because I have not observed that you are always in white, perhaps you are in another color if you are not on television. You understand what I mean? Now, if you wear black, black may also instigate an emotive feeling that I have been taught through my learning process that black represents. You understand what I mean? My attitude will also change. Attitude is just an element of behavior. Behavior is the omnibus, is the totality of your measured conduct towards a lot of things. So when you are talking about mental attitude, if you change situation, the attitude will change automatically. Because what we are preaching now, restructuring, is within the gamut of what the psychologists will call behavior modification. You understand? If you want to modify a behavior, you recognize where the behavior is now. You unfreeze it. Then you feed in what you want to feed into that behavior that will produce the change. Once that change takes place, you freeze it, consolidating on it. So what we are talking about is a scientific process. It's not all the people shouting on the television. What the government can do, if the government has the intention and the desire to leave a solid and lasting legacy for eternity, is to constitute a small group of people, not politicians, people who are rooted in the science, concerned about this thing. That's what people do in other climes. A group of people will sit down without any political inclinations. They are sociologists, the best of sociologists. We have them here. They are psychologists, especially social psychologists. The best of them, we have them here. They are economists. There are some good legal minds that are not so fixated on legalism and legalese. Some lawyers are always looking at, just like a doctor looks at everybody through syringe and drugs. A good doctor should have a blend of knowledge of psychology. Sometimes rent is the cause of your headache. It's a fact of it. So if he gives you Panadol, 45 Panadol per second, he cannot heal you, because if you even give you sleeping tablet, when you wake up to the reality of your problem. So these are the issues. We need those who have scientific minds. But you cannot do that when the leadership is afraid because of their own level of ignorance of certain concepts that are being bandied around. A good manager is not the one that does the job. Is the one that does the job through people.
Okay.